Alright guys, so this is Mike from Mod. I had a couple questions about how to do the prep model tutorial in exocad after I posted that last reel. So I'm just got about 5 minutes, 10 minutes in between patients here. Team's working on a hybrid, so I'm gonna go ahead and go through that really quick. So set the case up as an eggshell ponic, use your standard settings. Go ahead and click save. Let's pop into design. And then we'll bring our model in. You shouldn't need to do an antagonist for this because we're just creating a prep model to wax to. So let's rotate that around. Get our orientation set. We don't need to do smile creator because we're not actually going to use these temps for anything. And then we need to segment out teeth. And so what typically works best for segmenting teeth in eggshell ponic is to eggshell crown, is to click in the posterior, the central groove of the posterior teeth, and in the anterior we're going to click on the buccal. You just want to make sure your margins segment out properly so that you're not getting preps down on teeth and stuff like that, but it should be popping through this pretty quick. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. So then as we transition into the anterior, I'm going to go ahead and start clicking on the buccal. You know, if you have trouble getting the teeth segmented, you can always go in and correct, or if you really have problems, you can go into expert mode and freeform the model and just make the teeth a little bit more pronounced as far as the line angles and the separation between the tissue and the tooth. That can help as well. But this one's segmenting out pretty much perfectly, which is great since we're making a video. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. All right. A little bit extended here. Let's pull that back just a touch. Other than that, looks good. All right, so here we need to cut off the uniform insertion direction. And really what we're just trying to do is get the path of insertions for how the teeth will be digitally prepped to be straight down the long axis of the tooth. Looks good. I'm going to update the crown bottom. And I'm going to hit next. We don't need to do anything here because these are not actual shells that we're going to use. Just shouldn't have closed the case. So let's just jump back into design. At that stage, once the design's done, you need to click design model. So I got a little rushed and load that scene file back up. And we're going to design the model. Next, this will be a plateless model with cutout dies. We can cut the base all the way down, so we don't need a huge base. You do want to make sure you preserve the palate or some type of distal tissue on the lower if you're going to do this, so you can align the meshes to your pre-op. And so then you just click on toggle all teeth simultaneously, double click to, first it's going to be provisional crown, then click again, it'll be provisional stump. Turn that all the way up to use the amount of digital preparation to 0.5 millimeter. hit next, and then cross your fingers and hope that you have enough RAM in your computer that it doesn't take all day for this to happen. Luckily, Wally sprung for the nice RAM on this computer, so this should be pretty quick. It'll give us our model, and then we'll be pretty much done with this. It usually takes about 4 to 5 minutes to run through this process per case, but it'll definitely save you lots of time on the back end as far as having your wax ups be a lot more accurate, and you're not spending tons of time freeforming model data to get the teeth digitally prepped. All right, so there's our prep. We got a little bit of an issue how that's segmented out, but we'll just fix that in expert mode. So I'm going to jump into expert mode. I'm going to edit the mesh. Let's turn all teeth off. Let's just cut this off. Sometimes you get weird stuff happens like that when you segment it. Let's make sure we don't have a hole here. All good. And so that would be the model that you would go ahead and use for your wax up. And so then you take this into your case and match it. You would replace the jaw scan for your pre-op condition with this prep model after you get the smile creator set up. And then you would wax to that, and then you would have a much more accurate pre-op wax up for when you're going into preparation. So, all right, and pretty easy. Hopefully you guys will be able to implement this into your process and make things a little bit more efficient for you. Anyway, have a great